Hey everybody, thank you so much. We're happy to have you here with us today. I'm Claudia, a proud member of the RemoteWinBox Admiral team, and together with the rest of the crew, we welcome you as we dive into our 2023 journey, showcasing our achievements and unveiling our exciting plans for the remainder of the year. So here's our agenda for about the next half hour or so. There will be plenty of time for Q&A, but don't wait to ask any burning questions that you have along the way. Feel free to use the chat box to ask any questions. So, after all, we are constantly improving RemoteWinBox based on input from you, our current and also potential clients. Please keep in mind that this product roadmap presentation is intended to outline our general product direction. The information provided here is for information purposes only and is not a commitment to deliver specific functionality. The development, release, and timing of any features or functionality described are still to be determined. That being said, let's take a look at our recent track record and our plans for 2023. I'll pass it over to Mario, our Chief Technology Officer, who will share some highlights from this year's advances. Take it away, Mario.
Hey everyone, so 2023 has been a busy year for us. Listed on the slide, there are features that we released this year, and I'll kind of go through a few of the highlights. We heard that developing a brand associated with managed Wi-Fi is important to our users, so we launched tenancy and branding for admirals. This feature allows you to put your company logo and messaging in front of your subscribers. In 2023, we released quite a few UI UX updates, including different themes for your dashboard, full page map view, and the most requested feature since the start of RemoteWinBox, clickable graphs on the NOC dashboard. Another prominent features that came out this year are notifications and maps. Our goal was to create a MikroTik-oriented alerting and mapping system that would allow you to proactively address issues on your network. On the subscriber side of things, we added Sonar and PowerCode integrations that sync data between our dashboard and your billing system dashboard. We also added parental controls, including simple queuing, guest Wi-Fi, and up and coming is full support for AX Wave 2 wireless. We continue our goal to bring more polish to our dashboard and improve its existing features, usability, and accessibility. With that in mind, we made some major improvements behind the curtains to our processes. First, we expanded on polling parameters of our pollers. You may have noticed new graphs and new alerts, which are a direct result of tracking more topics. Another process that had a major performance improvement is discovery. It used to take sometimes hours to run through the discovery process depending on the size of your network. We decided to port our discovery service into polling, which resulted in running the discovery on the whole network in just a few minutes. By expanding on our polling dataset, we've also managed to rewrite our mappers, which should now have higher accuracy than the previous version. If you have any questions regarding our 2023 features and improvements, feel free to write in chat. And next up is our CEO, Mark Perea, and he'll cover more in depth some of the improvements that are coming up.
Thanks, Mario. So I'm MikroTik Mark, many of you know me, and we're working hard at RemoteWinBox to continually evolve and enhance the platform. And I want to share some of what we've heard from our customers. So I'll start with a customer who told us that he was colorblind. So he had a hard time differentiating the colors for router status icons. We took this back to our development team and we released improvements on the colors and icons to make it easier for them to identify. So we plan to continue to look at how we can improve our dashboard for the vision impaired folks. We've also been asked to enhance our alerts with an action items page that indicates problem areas that need attention. Next up, some of our customers with thousands of MikroTiks in their networks have told us that the dashboard can be a little slow if you happen to have a need to navigate through edit router, go to router health, then check the router listing, and then go to Wi-Fi settings and run a Wi-Fi scan. So we have a couple of things in the works. First, we're adding a caching mechanism that actually should be launched any day now, and that speeds up all page loads to almost instant, lightning fast, so that when you have to switch back and forth between the different pages, there won't be any waiting or loading times anymore. In addition, our team is reviewing our dashboard features and looking at our pages so that we can better address your use cases and your user flows so that more of the things that you need to do, like look at the Wi-Fi settings, the devices, the signals, the information, all in one place and easier to use. We spent a lot of time and effort on our automated network mapping tools that discover which of your MikroTiks are connected to other RemoteWinBox MikroTiks. So for our Fleet Commander and firmware update tools, we've been told that it would be great, for example, if our tools would start upgrading the firmware on the farthest nodes first. And so think about your home Wi-Fi access point gets upgraded first, followed by your home gateways, and then on, hop by hop, closer to your core, all while ensuring that each layer across the network has finished its updates and successfully upgraded before continuing on to the next layer. Further, we've been asked to link information on our big map so that you can see which TICs are connected to each other with an overlay of the lines that connect them. So not only do we think that this will be a very cool addition visually, it should also really help with quick identification of where to start looking faster when something goes awry on your network. And we're working on what we call automated provisioning. That's going to look like being able to apply templates of configurations to your MikroTiks. So imagine that you've just connected a fresh MikroTik to the platform, and either from the billing system or from some preloaded data that you put into our dashboard, our system can know what it needs for custom security, custom firewall settings. Let's call those settings X, and then Wi-Fi settings, settings Y, and configuration settings, template from Z. We've also been asked to add reporting so that when you update the template Z we just talked about, we can tell you which MikroTiks are out of compliance with that new template version. We've also heard that Wi-Fi scanning is a great tool for tuning frequency, channel width, and power settings. So one thing that we're really excited about is that, in particular, for MDU deployments, we've already got command and control access to all of the access points in the buildings that are MikroTiks. So what if RemoteWinBox could tell the whole building's worth of access points to look around and listen to each other, and then automatically determine what the best settings are for each access point to minimize interference with other RemoteWinBox access points and optimize the overall system as a whole? Further, we've been iterating on speed test, and we released Bring Your Own Speedster, but depending on your existing configuration and security policy, sometimes it doesn't behave as well as it could. So we're going to keep improving on speed test to make it more reliable, more accurate, and particularly at higher bandwidths of over 500 megs, as well as ready for automation and reporting and alerting. So imagine a new report section where you can see a list of those users or MikroTik routers that are regularly at the top of their bandwidth package and getting alerts when important routers are running out of or exceeding available capacity thresholds. And we have a use case to request allowed programmatic access to be able to add a router and query that router so that another system can use RemoteWinBox as transport and access layer for remote reachability. So many, if not all of our customers are security minded, so we continue to add integrations with Team Cymru to add further security to our dashboard and improve the safety of our customers' equipment and services. By continuing our teamwork with Team Cymru this year to enhance security on the global network with Unwanted Traffic Removal Service, or UTRS, last year we integrated with Team Cymru Bogon Reference, and this year we're building an easy button to build and update the peering with your Team Cymru account to your MikroTik BGP border router. Once you've got that integration complete, you'll be able to check on the status and easily participate in black holing of unwanted traffic at a global scale. So this is pretty huge, and I want to take a moment to explain why the value of the use case here. Why is this important? So imagine that you've got a customer that's under attack from a distributed denial of service attack. With UTRS and RemoteWinBox, you'd be able to see that traffic anomaly. There'd be a button there to activate a distress signal, indicating that traffic to the victim across the global network should go into a black hole mode. So at that point, all participants of the UTRS program will stop sending your traffic for that /32, that customer, which reduces your denial of service attack by volumes, and doing so in global locations much closer to the source than other methods like scrubbing. After that, we plan to continue to integrate with Team Comree's Nimbus threat monitoring so that RemoteWinBox will be able to detect bad actors and malware input. Finally, we recognize that as RemoteWinBox becomes more and more adopted in networks around the world, we need to ensure that our guides and documentation are top-notch. We've been collecting interesting use cases, tips and tricks, as well as how-to guides, and we'll be releasing those and making them publicly available to help you get more done faster, with or without RemoteWinBox. For example, just this week, we put a how-to blog post on how we recently created a wireless extender or mesh network using HAP AX3s in our production lab, which is actually the Wi-Fi I'm currently using right now. There's also instructions in there on how to use a 5-port HAP like the AC, AC2, or AC Lite. If you'd like to see a tutorial on how to do something in particular, please be sure to ask about it in the chat or send us a line at support@remotewinbox.com. Next up is Candace.
So Mark just went over the new features that we are currently planning to work on this year, but the product team has a few other ideas that we want to explore, and that's the list that you see right now on your screen. Two of these ideas I'd like to highlight because I think they are really exciting. As most of you know, 2023 has been the year of artificial intelligence. And with this in mind, we have been exploring ways to leverage the OpenAI platform. Our team is in the early stages, but we're looking at an integrated support chatbot, and this tool will not only guide users through the platform and address support inquiries, but also offer valuable tips and recommendations directly within the dashboard. Zooming out for a broader perspective, our team is also considering the introduction of a holistic network assistant. This assistant would integrate with the notification engine and a centralized syslog in RemoteWinBox, providing users with actionable recommendations and insights for their entire network. For instance, if there are repeated failed login attempts on routers, this could signal a potential hacking attempt. These log events might help identify if the network stability is compromised and point out if any equipment has been breached. This assistant would be just another tool to help overall health of networks managed by RemoteWinBox. And we'd really love to hear any feedback or suggestions that you might have regarding any of these potential features. With that, I'll turn it back over to Claudia for Q&A.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for laying all of that out. I hope that you guys out there had, getting some ideas along the way. I already see a couple of questions in the chat, so we'll get to those in just a second. And feel free to pull together any questions that you have on either any of the features that are already existing, if you have any questions, or if you have any questions on the future features that we just kind of laid out in our plans. While you're getting your questions together, you can either write them in the chat, or if you want to come off of mute, you can raise your hand. I think I have my participants list. It'll pop you up to the top so that I can see you and we can take you off of mute. If you don't want to write your question out. I think we might have a question for you, though. We might have put a little poll together to find out from you guys. How many of you guys are planning on going to Wispapalooza in about a month from now? A poll might just have popped up on your screen. You can feel free to answer there, or you can put it in the chat if you want. Also, please, if you're putting it in the, if you're going to a different convention that you think that we really need to be at, where we can bring you a t-shirt or something like that, then put in the chat if there's something other than Wispapalooza or Wisp America that we should be going to, that you're like, well, this other conference is really good, then let us know. And then in the meantime, while everybody's putting their answer there, so it doesn't seem like as many people are going to Wispapalooza, but let's see, 2600 conference. Have not heard of that one before. So I think we're going to have to check that one out. But while people are finishing up with their answer to that poll question, I'll go ahead and take first. Tyler Casey had something to say about the MDU feature. Mark or Mario, either one of you guys that wants to take it. He said that the MDU feature combined with CapsMan somehow would be incredible. So I don't know if that sparks any kind of thoughts for you, but if either one of you guys wants to take that suggestion and riff on it for a second.
Yeah, I guess I can jump in and say that, we don't consider any difference between whether you're doing CapsMan or whether you've configured stuff for just generic wireless and MikroTik, or whether you're using the new Wi-Fi Wave 2 version of CapsMan. So in our mindset, each of those is a configuration mechanism. So we fully intend to use the same technology to analyze the network and kind of say, hey, we know that these MikroTiks are close to each other. Let's make sure that they have the right signal strength and et cetera. And so that'll just be config directives, right, that are different between CapsMan versus just generic Wi-Fi. But we'll absolutely consider that CapsMan should be fully supported in the same way that any other technology approach gets used for delivering that Wi-Fi.
Nice, great. All right, perfect. Well, we took one from the audience, and we got lots of questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. And then, so we had Quentin, who asked if someone is black holed with the Team Cymru integration, is it possible to have the black hole customer to be sent to the separate NAT pool so they can still so they can still get out to the internet? So will the customer still have access to the internet in a separate NAT pool, I guess, is the question there that I probably didn't say right.
I'll tackle this one too. So given that we're not done with this yet, there's probably an infinity of levels that this could probably get to. Our thoughts are with, phase one, the goal is really to mitigate as much as possible the incoming traffic that not only would affect your one customer, but if you've got only a 10 gig uplink to your internet, it's entirely plausible that a denial of service attack could volumetrically hit you at 60 gigs. Even if you had 210 gigs, 60 gigs may overflow both connections. And so step one is, hey, can we stop that traffic close to the source, way over, across the pond? Regardless of where you live, the attack could be coming from a different country than you, a different continent than you. And if we can stop that traffic earlier, that's better for both the global network and for your network. So phase one is definitely about, hey, join the network and then block traffic that is marked as bad. And then certainly later on, we can do things like automate the anomaly detections so that we know and make a suggestion on when that customer might be under attack and that maybe you want them to be involved. Team Cymru also, I can't say too much, but they're working on improving their UTRS service so that you can do really cool stuff like maybe have more information about where that attack is coming from and how you want to handle that attack. So we'll definitely work together with them on leveraging some of the features that they're adding to the UTRS service too.
Great. Excellent. So we have a couple of +1s on this question. So Luke says, I would like to see the ability to pick a firmware version that will continue to be the revision we use until we test and validate another version. I know 7 is still updating regularly, but I'd like to validate a version and deploy only that version until we do the same with another version.
I guess I'll jump in and take that one too. Anybody can jump in if they'd like to. But so I want to talk about two things here. One, that I totally understand that use case, and we've got some retooling to do on our infrastructure side in order to support that use case. But I don't think we're far from that. The other thing is that particular feature request has had a lot of +1s before today. And so I think with all the +1s from the call here, that's probably going to get pushed over the top to say we should commit efforts and resources to it. And along those lines, we've actually just started development last week on a feature request page. So expect coming soon that on your menu items, you'll be able to say, hey, look at feature requests, right? And so from inside the dashboard, you'll be able to see what you and others have requested, be able to +1 on those from our dashboard, and kind of get a better interactivity and sense of what we're working on and what you can help drive forward with our development process.
Great. Yes. This one's simple, but I think it's a really interesting question from Kyle. Is there any plan to implement groups on the dashboard instead of a flat list? We could use the tags, but that is currently being used for another purpose. We'd like to group micro ticks per site or per client. And Tyler Casey added in, yes, site tower assignments independent of tag would be very cool.
I guess I'll take this one so Mark doesn't have to do all the talking. So we talked a little bit about that before we even came up with implementing tags. Then we did tags. Then we heard, well, maybe some grouping or hierarchy would also be useful. So we started working on hierarchy. It most certainly is a possibility to do. It's basically creating a layer 2 of tags, so to say. But if you are currently using an Admiral and you would like to see something like this, I think possibly a feature that might help here is our tenancy. So if you are an Admiral and you may want to hear about this stuff, do reach out to support@remotewinbox.com, and we will be able to set you up with tenancy. You'll be able to split between your clients and your core, things like that. It may not be to full extent of what groups would be, but it sure can separate your account into kind of multiple accounts, and you can even dedicate certain employees to manage one part and the other employees to manage the other, etc. I hope that kind of maybe elaborates and gives some help until we do have maybe groups one day in our dashboard.
Excellent. I want to add our next poll question for you guys. So if the poll master wants to get that ready, this is going to be, what is your favorite UI that you're using right now? Are you using light mode, the kind of traditional? Did you move to the dark theme, or are you going terminal, taking it like old school style? What? Terminal's not getting any love right now. Like, what? Oh man, light and dark is, for a second it was neck and neck. Okay, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'm like watching the bars go. Man, terminal, no love. Oh wow, I didn't see that coming.
I'm gonna have to start using terminal just so it doesn't get zeroed out.
Just all
I
right.
use
Well,
terminal view, but I don't have a voting button, so
we don't get to vote. We don't get to vote on our end. So while you guys are finishing up voting on that or putting into the chat whatever you feel about the different UI interfaces that we have, Tyler said, piggybacking on a previous request of mine, how would you feel about an option to integrate Google Maps via their API key anywhere in the RemoteWinBox that the map is displayed? I ask because PowerCode already requires every one of their customers to have Google Maps API key for their maps. So an optional checkbox in RemoteWinBox to use Google Maps versus the leaflet map would be awesome. And then he was saying that this way the dashboard and per router maps could have actual satellite imagery.
I'll jump in on
Got
this one. So yeah, we went with leaflet because at the time Google was starting to charge for the Maps API. But yeah, I like the suggestion of being able to allow the user to enter, just kind of like we do with Twilio, right? You put in your own credentials and then make use of your own API to be able to display the Google Maps. So we are doing some work on hierarchy, and so the developer on that is looking at overlaying the topology map with leaflet. So maybe we can kind of work the Google Maps in at the same time. I'll add it to the list. Thank you.
You got it. Oh, a new poll has popped up, and this one is about our new features. You guys can go ahead and answer that as you feel free. I think you can select, I'm not sure, can they select multiple ones on this one?
Yeah, it
Or
looks like it's a multiple choice.
multiple choice, maybe. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm gonna, while you guys are voting on that, I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, there's the bigger list. Thank you. So I'm gonna ask Ryan's question now, is that, are there any plans to add device name info to the end user device list for Wi-Fi devices? It would be helpful to have devices at least identified by the manufacturer name, even if a device fingerprint is not available. And Preston followed that up with very much this. We do a ton of customer troubleshooting based on the end user device list. Like, is your TV connected to the wireless network? Are you sure? Etc. And so what do you guys, and Tyler says that he thinks the EUV already gets Mac vendor info, but what do you guys think about that?
I'm pretty passionate about this one because I have my own struggle like identifying the kids' devices, and in particular if they bring in something new like a friend's tablet or whatever, sneak that in to get past your parental controls. So yeah, we've actually one of our devs came up with a strategy and mechanism to add that already, and what we need to do is run that through the lab to find out whether that has any performance impact. We know as many of our customers are moving more towards fiber to the home for their managed Wi-Fi, we want to make sure that we're not killing the performance by implementing a strategy that really kills the performance. So we are thinking about that as piece number one. Piece number two, I actually thought that might be helpful to identify. I know sometimes being able to look at, maybe take like a spyglass analogy here and kind of zoom in on what is this device here's flow at the moment, right? So you get your list to pop up of the devices. If there was like a little identifier of like, what is that thing doing right now? Is it playing, an online video game like League of Legends, or maybe it's currently consuming Netflix? I think those are things that we could know and could display and might be helpful in understanding, hey, what do I want to label this one instead of a MAC address? So certainly we definitely could do a better job. We'll spend some time focusing in on how we can improve that aspect for you guys.
And the follow-up to that is like torch or connection tracking?
Yeah, so I think that would be a mix of, we probably wouldn't, torch is kind of heavyweight to use over the API. Just as a heads up, we would probably, periodically check the connection tracking table and say, hey, what is this thing doing? Grab the flows and kind of analyze them. But you can also tell a lot from port numbers. So if we can see the port numbers and perhaps the DNS queries, those are other mechanisms we can kind of use as tools to find out what it is. In another case, maybe you're looking for a device and you want to know, hey, which one is this one? It might be helpful if we could say, hey, if you go to RemoteWinBox.com, we'll put that one at the top of this list. There's a couple of different ways that I think we can strategize helping out with that. And so we'll be definitely spending some time looking into that.
Great. All right, cool. Kyle was shocked that there's a terminal option on Admiral, and he's excited now that Eric shared him a screenshot and showed him where to put that. It looks like for our poll, automatic provisioning getting a lot of love here. So we're definitely gonna be working on that. All right. And then let's see. Preston asked, how is mobile support? We have technicians in the field that may need to use the web portal on roofs, attics, or customer homes in situations where the laptop isn't always feasible. The biggest use case for us would be changing customer SSIDs and passwords on the fly on location and possibly fine-tuning the broadcast frequencies. Is an SDK app planned, or is there or an effort to put the UI on a mobile version? And now we do, even a stripped down portal would be very useful for us. I'm not sure if maybe Candace maybe wants to take that. know she's
Sure.
done some work.
So the current app has been optimized for mobile use. So you should be able to log in, using the browser on a mobile device and be able to get to everything pretty well. We try to optimize most of the user interface for that. We have been toying with the idea of doing kind of just like you're saying, a tech-focused app that you could download and use. That's still in early stages. But yeah, there was another question in there that I wanted to. You should be able to change SSID, Wi-Fi, SSID, and passwords within the mobile app. That's what I was going to add. So, yeah.
Within the website on the phone.
Sorry, yeah, within a
Optimized for that.
browser using the mobile website. Yep.
Perfect. Great. Awesome. Yeah, we definitely, I know that as a team, they put in a lot of work on making sure that it looks great on whether you're on a desktop or whether you're on a phone, it's going to operate perfectly and be, it's going to work really well. I think that, like Tyler said, his experience is that the mobile web looks great. Luke is asking, can we get more two-factor authentication options like a QR code or OTP enrollment? Seconded by Kyle, would like to use maybe like an app instead of email, SMS.
Take this one. So depending on how long you've been with the RemoteWinBox, you may or may not have experienced the two-factor authentication via an authenticator app. So back in the day, we did have Google authentication implemented for 2FA. And unfortunately, at one point, Google decided to completely shut down that particular service and start, I guess, a different one, which completely broke our authenticator app-based 2FA. And at that point, we were stuck with email 2FA. That's when we decided to go the SMS route. We don't have anything currently concrete planned out for a two-factor authentication app, but I'm on the same page with you. I love authenticator app. I hate opening emails and SMS messages, but we just want to make sure we don't build another thing that gets shut down in a matter of a year or two. So that's kind of the status quo right now.
And I'll jump in also. So we actually participated in a Plus ISP conference in Colombia a couple weeks ago. And they told us that we really needed to be looking at Telegram. Apparently, many South American users are very keen on using the Telegram service for messaging. And so they were also beginning to look at the Telegram API. So look for potentially that coming soon to the dashboard as another option for two-factor too.
Nice. And I said, let's see, Luke says, I use 1Password to enroll Google Auth codes, and it is persistent across all my devices. Cool. All right, you guys. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have for now. And yeah, of course, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to contact us at support until we, have our actual, feature request portal ready to go. Then, of course, we'll be looking forward to seeing all your feature requests there and seeing all the +1s and see what everybody likes. And in the meantime, yes, feel free to follow us on all of, the kind of social media platforms, especially our YouTube channel, where we will be posting this video. So if there's any part of it that you missed or that you just feel like you maybe didn't get a full grasp of course, we're going to post it there. So feel free to take another look. And other than that, we really look forward to seeing some of you guys at Wispapalooza and hearing from you guys on support and just seeing you guys in the meantime, following up with you and seeing how you're all doing. So thank you guys all for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.